On location of your emergency. On location of your emergency.
Hi, something is happening. Something happened in our house. We don't know what.
In plain sight. But 12 gauge brings it to light. Story fades to black. Cold wind through the courthouse. The evidence stacked. Mysterious whispers, facts twist in the rain. Trials and tears, fingerprints and pain. Forget, dish the truth on the line. Unsolved hearts and the edge of time. Through the light, we illuminate the signs. Justice speaks when the silence binds. Headlights flash on the long-forgotten road. Photographs of faces, stories left untold. DNA and alibis, the gavel falls again. Every clue a heartbeat, every word a sin. Facts and fiction dance in disguise, but we're chasing the proof where the cold truth lies. From the old case files to the breaking news, we follow every lead till the trail leads through. 12 gauge.
Welcome to 12 Gauge Investigative, a no-holds-barred dive into the stories that others won't touch. We bring raw, unsanitized investigative content, from criminal cases and courtroom updates to underground movements and unsolved mysteries. If you're tired of the same sanitized headlines and want the truth served straight, you've found your channel. Strap in, subscribe, and join us on the investigation.
All right. How's everybody doing on this? What night are we on? Monday night. Hope everybody's doing okay. My name is 12 Gauge, and welcome to my channel, 12 Gauge Investigative. If this is your first time here, thank you for being here. If you've come here before, you know what the magic is, and you know where the magic is at. So thank you so much for being here. I have a guest tonight that I want to discuss something, and we've always had a good rapport, even though some things have gone down that really didn't have anything to do with me. So it doesn't matter one way or the other, anyways. People are gonna be who they're gonna be. So here's my guest for tonight. Let's see if you recognize this person. Let me see where the second slot is. Hold on a second. All right. How you doing?
I'm good. How are you?
I'm doing good. Been a long time. How you been?
I am actually the best I've ever been.
Really? Where are you at these days?
I am in Colorado Springs, Colorado.
Oh wow. I don't think I've ever
Yeah.
been to I don't think I've ever been to Colorado Springs.
Yep, that's where I'm at. I'll probably DoorDash here for a couple of days, and I'm probably making it back down towards Temple to see Tamla. So,
So you're
and
gonna
then
end up back in Alabama?
you know, I don't know. I don't know. Thinking about it, then I don't think about it, and so I don't really know. One day at a time.
Totally understand it. No, I wanted to have you on here because I want to talk about the holiday blues. And for anybody who's ever been an addict or had any kind of mental health issue during this time, it goes ignored more often than not. You know what I'm saying?
Oh yeah, definitely. I
Yeah.
mean, the addiction part of it, I mean, people don't think about the people that are out there addicted and without family and friends, and I'm not making them victims or anything like that, because we we as addicts make ourselves the victim enough. We don't need other people doing that for us.
Right, right. You know what I understand about life, and you and I are up there in age, so or at least I am. I'm not going to speak for you, but at least
Well,
I am.
I'm definitely up there in age.
And a lot of times perception is your reality. What you
Oh
perceive
yeah,
in life most of the time is your reality. So if your perception is life sucks, this isn't good whatsoever, this the best it'll ever be, or maybe you've had a falling out with a family member, maybe you've had a falling out with somebody you care about, maybe a relationship went bad, maybe all kinds of stuff could happen. Many times I've heard over, I didn't know where to go for help.
right, right.
So I, so I broke the law. At least I
Well,
knew,
I
at
mean,
least
a
I knew
lot of
I'd be
times
safe.
I didn't know where to go for help could also be an excuse.
Well, let's try to be empathetic tonight, okay?
Yeah,
Just a tad. I mean,
yeah,
I get what you're saying. I mean, we've all
yeah. I
you and
mean,
I have
there's a
both been
thin
there.
line between enabling.
Of course. But let's be a little empathetic tonight.
Yeah, a little bit.
Because most of the time we are our worst enemies. We really are. We are our worst enemies when it comes to self-defeating behaviors, self-defeating thoughts, our actions. They just defeat every positive act that we ever try to do. You know,
I am my own personal self saboteur.
yeah. I mean, I pretty much lost my channel. As you can tell, there's nobody in chat. There's nobody watching.
Yeah.
My channel is gone pretty much. And it's been like this for probably a month or two, I guess, or a little more.
Wow. Wow.
I guess all those times when I said I would go on regardless if no one was watching, I
I
guess
guess it's a test, huh?
I guess people were gonna say, "Okay, hold my beer. Let's see if he really will." No, you know what? A lot of it has been, Nina, is YouTube has lost its favor. It's lost its flavor. It's lost its
Right.
favor. It just doesn't get me going like it once did. You know what I mean?
Right. Right. Yeah. I
And
mean, YouTube
go
streets are fierce.
to what?
I said the YouTube streets are fierce.
It's not even that. It's not even that in my regard. YouTube is nothing more than real life to me. It's what I see on a daily basis. And people are all condensed in one area and they believe propaganda more than um, they believe propaganda more than righteousness or the ability for people to have second chances. Hey, PKC, thank you so much for being here.
Hey, PKC. It took me a long time to realize that YouTube is not real life.
Yeah, it's really not.
And not taken away from friendships that I've made, like with you and stuff like that. That's real life. But there's so much of it that's not real.
I
So, I
mean,
mean,
when somebody has, it's like, somebody has an issue with you and I don't have an issue with you, so we band together and we're gonna just walk away from you because you didn't take our stand. That's bullshit.
and,
Doesn't
and
mean
you know, I
go
want
ahead.
to say this right now that I have never wanted anyone to be hurt because of what anyone else felt about me. Bring it to me. Don't bring it to the streets. Don't bring it to YouTube. Bring it to me, and we'll discuss it and everything. So I want to personally apologize to you and anyone else who has been impacted or not impacted. That's not the word.
Well, I did have an impact about it. Yeah, you're right.
But that has had a negative anything happen because of me or what anybody has felt about me. And so for anybody else, if people think, I watch your lives, do I comment? No, because I never wanted to put you in a position, you know, that's out of respect,
Right.
you know. And you came to me and we talked about things and I understood your stance and I never argued you about it and we went on with our friendship.
But I'm the realest person that many will ever know in real life. And I think you know that because you met me. So
Yes,
you actually see that the person that I am behind this camera is the same damn person I am when you rolled
exactly.
up and met me, you know?
Exactly.
Um,
Exactly.
so for people to assume that that I was gonna be bullied into a corner, that's really asinine. And it showed that they don't really know who I am at all. You know what I mean? It's like you either go with us or you're against us. Okay. Well,
Right.
but you're the same people that on a nightly basis are standing up against another crowd of people who believe that a certain person is innocent versus being guilty. It just hypocritical all the way around. Hey, Walt, long time no see.
Hey, well,
I mean, you know what? That case is so convoluted. I don't even like to talk about it anymore. Today I watched a video and I'm going to give Gray Hughes a shout out because that man pretty much put together the most awesome video footage of the whole case, the Idaho case, from the moment Koberger left his house to the moment he got home at 5:30 in the morning and left that morning. You know, he put it all together camera wise. He was able to show bits and pieces um, of the camera footage that I had no idea that they were even connected. So I'm giving
right,
Gray a shout out, and I've never spoke to Gray. Gray's not a person that I would want to promote to be like we're best buddies or anything, but I like his
right.
work. He did 2 videos today or yesterday and today. I don't know if you've watched them, but if you haven't watched them, it pretty much it put the case to rest. It really does.
I haven't watched anything on the case. I've watched a couple of people, talking about, the lawsuits and, the stuff like that. And I was like, wow, now we're into lawsuits and everything. So I was just like, okay.
Yeah, you haven't missed a lot. I mean, there's still. I think what people forget is all this stuff that is all of a sudden being dropped has been around since day one.
Right,
They've investigated this way before all this stuff was being dropped 3 years later. So
right,
to give credence to certain people to be able to file a FOIA request and get videos and all this stuff. The only person that really, once again, I don't talk to her one bit or anything like that. Plunder. Me and Plunder, I give her all the credit in the world. My coverage of the Idaho 4 case would cause problems for your channel. Salty, I really don't know, and I really don't because That's a hard question to answer because I covered it the best way I knew how. Am I an expert?
I can
No,
agree. I
but
can
you
agree
have a
with that. I
lot.
can agree with that.
You know, I covered it the best I know how, based on what I was going to school for and everything else. That's the only reason I even used the case, honestly. And if you go back in time, you'll see me discussing that stuff from the earliest videos. Hey, Kathleen, how you doing?
Well, I mean, I'll be the first to say I started out on Evil CJ. I mean, as a guilter because that's where I fell into and didn't really know enough about the case, And so, I mean, I was right there doing research on the frat brothers and the, Church of Christ and I mean, you name it, I was researching it. I
Right.
mean, so I feel like I've been around the case from both sides.
Well, I can tell you this. I I believe that because of a lot of different variations that I faced throughout the time of that case. I believe that people just have their impression of whatever they're wanting to be about that case. You know what I mean? Well, I'm not
Oh
trying to
yeah, I
convince
mean
you. I'm not
The
trying to
Idaho
convince
court
you
from
of anything. I'm just saying that I'm answering your question the best that I know how. Is like there was a division from the earliest stages, and I decided to throw my hat in this ring because I wanted to do the investigative part about it. And did I do it all day long? Was I able to research all this stuff all day long and whatever? I was not. And that's why I had certain people up on my panel that did have the time, that did have the knowledge, that did have the impressions of what was in the now. So I just believe that you're either, as Jeff H would say, someone's cup of tea or you're not. And I'm not doing this live to be poor me, poor me, poor my channel. I'm really not. Don't get it misconstrued. I really wanted Nina to come up here tonight to really talk about addiction. And we just started talking about this out of the blue. But Nina, when it comes to the holidays, there are a lot of people that struggle internally without saying a word. Would you agree?
100%.
You know what I mean?
100%. And a lot of times it's out of shame. It's out of um a lot of it is shame
Right.
because they don't want to be judged for what they may be feeling or what their lack of feeling. I mean, because when you're in the throes of addiction, you're really not feeling anything.
Right, right. So, whenever people are looking to reach out for help or they're looking to get out of their current situation, I've always heard that there's not much help out there for people. And a lot of times the misconception is that there's plenty of help. There's all kinds of things that people can do to get themselves better. But that's not always true. You know what I mean? That's not always true. The
Yeah,
medical,
I mean, but a
go ahead.
lot of people don't know the avenues to take. I mean, a lot of people don't, I mean, I'm sure that, I've learned from being out here 211. 211 is everything.
Right.
But there's a lot of people that wouldn't pick up the phone and call 211 and say, I need some help. I need some recovery. I'm at rock bottom. I need some guidance. Because really all 211 is information. They just point you in a direction. They give you phone numbers and stuff like that. They can't do anything for you, but they can get you to the right person.
Right, right.
But a
So
lot
do
of
you
people don't
so
even realize.
do you have your phone like all the way up?
Oh yeah, am I echoing?
A little bit, a little bit.
Is that better?
Um, yeah, it sounds better. I
Okay.
don't know. Not as bad. Not as bad. We're good.
Okay.
So, you know, back when people used to be able to go to a hospital if they were in a poor state of mind or a poor, let's say that you'd been drinking or drugging for a certain amount of time, they could used to go to an ER, and an ER would send out the OSAR, which would get them in touch with some kind of rehab that they could put them in for 7 to 14 days to stabilize them. Well, nowadays, that's no more. You know what I mean? Do you get what I'm saying?
Yeah. See now, I mean the hospitals now I don't even think that I don't think they even deal with addiction and stuff like that, like through the ER and I mean detoxing and I mean it's just I guess I really haven't thought about it that way as far as used to. You could just go to the hospital and say, I need a detox.
Right. Now dang, what did I do? I made it worse. Hold on. I'm still trying to figure this out. I got a new camera, so I'm trying to see where I need to put the microphone.
Uh-oh, I can't hear you.
How about there?
Oh, I hear you now. I don't hear an echo. Am I echoing?
No, you're not echoing now. So, as far as, going to going to get help, there's a lot of shame, there's a lot of guilt. I don't know if you remember what it's like to be struggling with substance abuse issues going on with your daily life. There's a lot of shame and guilt for having to ask for help, right?
Um, yeah, I mean the shame and guilt and everything is I think that's I don't think you feel that shame and guilt when you're in the throes of addiction. You don't really
Mhm.
start feeling that shame and guilt until you hit that I won't help point.
Right.
So you can make it through the addiction and stuff like that because you're covering it up with your drug of choice or alcohol or whatever the addiction is.
Of course.
But then when you take that away, that vice away, that's when the shame will hit you in the gut.
So so many people why do you think so many people have that inability to ask for help when they need it?
Do what now?
What would make somebody not ask for help when they needed it?
The
Do you,
realization.
do you believe that addicts and alcoholics have trust issues?
God, yeah.
Okay.
Um,
So could
I, I
that
think I think that
possibly,
dose of reality hits too, and that's sort of scary
yeah,
because when you get to that point of I need help, that's when you're admitting that you can't do it anymore.
right.
You're and I think that dose of reality sort of kicks in and it's like, wait a minute, I can do this. I don't need help. And then you just go right back to where you were needing help from.
Right.
And
Well,
plus, there's a whole lot of that wrong kind of pride.
pride is a big killer of sobriety. It really is.
Right.
You
You
know,
know,
whenever people
there's
don't have
definitely a right kind of pride and a wrong kind.
Well, that trust factor goes all over the spectrum. Goes all over the spectrum. Whether you have addiction problems or whether you don't, trust a lot of times is very fragile with people these days. You know what I mean?
Right.
They'd rather.
Hey,
I've known
Gage.
I've known people that they'd rather stay outside in the cold than to take the opportunity that somebody's given them. Let's say somebody's offering them a warm place to stay, this and that and the other, but you can't smoke. I've seen this happen multiple times. They've needed the help for the drug abuse, all their issues, but they couldn't smoke at the facility, so they would not go in. They would refuse to help.
Right.
And
Um,
whenever that happens, it not only harms the person, but it shows their priority of recovery.
right. Right.
And somebody said in the chat just now, you have to be willing to change. You know what I mean? Well, I'm going to tell you both, okay? Salty, you and Serious. It doesn't really matter what you're in here for, but if you're in here to start crap, please leave. I don't want you here. And I can do what I want on my channel. And maybe that's why people don't want to come over here. But you know what? You're no saltier than anybody else on the internet. So you can huff and puff and talk away. Get the fuck out of my channel if you want to talk shit. She can, rewind and go all about it. I'm glad you are here. I'm glad that you are here because y'all just want to gang up on somebody, and that's fine. Y'all know where to find her, like she said, Y'all know where to find her. My my chat was empty before y'all started jumping in here, so jump on out. I don't give a shit. This isn't about Idaho. This isn't about anything. I was discussing something on my panel, and just like you on your channel, you don't like people talking shit. Well, I don't either. And it's not justified, Firefly. It's not my battle. That's the thing. You have an issue with somebody, you go and talk to them, not me. I have them on my panel. That doesn't mean that I brought her up here so you could attack her. Okay? I ain't dropping shit. You ain't allowed on my panel. Get lost, kick rocks, all of y'all. Take your team with you. Okay? Take your team with you. Y'all roll together, y'all hang tight. Take your bullshit team with you. Go watch some more Forensic Files. See if you can learn some real shit about crime, right?
okay. Okay. Thank you, but don't do this to your channel. Don't do this. I mean, I
Well,
appreciate
I've
it.
always said it doesn't matter who's in the chat. It doesn't matter who it is. I've always said it, and people take that lightly. It doesn't matter if there's creators in my channel or whatever. If they're being disruptive, like this chat is being right now, and trying to attack my panel guests, I've had people try to go after Jeff. I've had people go after other people. You know what? I've treated them all the same. So I don't understand why these people act like they can come in here and do this. It's stupid. It's stupid. You don't have to be here, Firefly. You can go. Bye-bye. You can go. You don't have to be here. Because, you can talk all you want in the chat. Anyways, let's talk about addiction. I don't want to.
Okay. Okay. I mean, I'm not going to respond and be a part of it. Not on your channel, not in your comments. So I would just rather go ahead and just do what we were going to do.
Exactly. Because I do have some people that I know currently that are struggling with their addiction. They're struggling with their mental health. They're struggling with all kinds of stuff. And that's what they get, just like what we're getting in the chat right now. A lot
Well,
of
I
us,
mean, you have to consider too that, and I'm not talking about myself right now or anything. I'm talking about addiction and people who are struggling. That most of the time, people who are struggling within themselves, they have a past and they have judgments of, like you said, the mistrust and the, you know, uh, abandonment issues. Okay, you might be there for me for a couple of weeks, and then all of a sudden you're going to walk on me again. You know,
right,
I'm
right.
always going to end up alone. I'm always going to end up right back because nobody's going to stick it out with me.
Well, when it comes to that, it's oftentimes they have that no family, they have no kind of social support. They haven't been working. They don't have anything to their name. They probably pawned everything. They have no house to live in. They're couch surfing. They're doing all kinds of stuff. Does this mean
Right,
that we should turn our back on these people and say, well, you made your choices, so therefore suffer the consequences?
right, right. Yeah, exactly. I mean, that nobody is perfect. Everybody's going to make mistakes, and that's in addiction, in recovery, never even been addicted. You know, if you're a person, you're going to make mistakes.
Of course,
How
of
you
course.
handle those mistakes and everything is totally different in active addiction and recovery.
Well,
I mean,
I don't know what it took for you. I don't know what it took for you because we all walk a different walk.
right,
But what it took for me as well as some people that I know, is they started losing self-respect. They started losing a lot of things that they at first were taking for granted. And then I started realizing that these things that I was losing were really not coming back. Because when you're being enabled, you said that earlier, when you're being enabled, you have that opportunity to always think, well, I got one more left in me. I got one more
right.
situation that can use this person or use that person. But then after a while, all that subsides and you're left with nothing. You know what
And
I
I
mean?
do I do want to agree with Salty on her comment just now about everybody makes mistakes on it, you know, and I'm not going to respond to that as being directed at me, because I won't say that that's what she's doing. It could just be, a statement, you know. But I will say that for anyone in here, I have owned everything that has happened in the last couple of months. I kept every bit of it transparent and everything. And I have told anybody and everybody. And I know that if people have seen the post and everything, that anything concerning me and anything going on, to contact me by email, and that if you want a refund, I will be glad to refund your money. I have had one person email me, one. And the people that I have asked, do they want a refund? It's no. So I will say this right now, I own anything. I am accountable. Okay. Now, are there extenuating circumstances? Those have been broadcasted, so I don't have to go into that right now. But I want everybody to know that when I say everybody makes mistakes, yes, that includes me. And yes, that includes me owning my mistakes.
Well, the thing about making mistakes, Nina, is there's certain things that people have their beliefs on, and that's their own belief. And I'm not here to change anybody's beliefs as far as what they believe or what their moral values or beliefs are. But I guess what people fail to understand a lot of times is if you've ever lived a life of addiction, if you've ever had these holiday blues like I'm talking about, your thinking's not like everybody else's. And if people view that as an excuse, hell, I heard it my whole addiction. I heard it. You're just making excuses. You're manipulating me. You're trying to get over on me. You're trying to do all this stuff. Where in reality, it is a survival tactic, you know? It's a survival tactic that, for whatever reason, is learned, it is programmed, and whether people agree with it or they don't, it is something that takes time and energy to change if that's what they view need changing. So, do you agree with that or not? I mean, do you agree that people
Yeah, I mean,
their addiction?
people make any kind of excuse to no, let me rephrase that. We're uh, I can only speak for myself in addiction, okay? And I would make any kind of excuse for me not to be an addict. You know what I'm saying? I mean, because you put that addict in there and it sort of hits harder than, okay, I'm just going to go high today. Does that make sense? I
Mm-hmm.
mean, now when you put that in there, I'm an addict and I have to get high today, that hits harder than, oh, I'm just going to go get high today. Does that make any kind of sense?
Of course it does.
You know, it's when you realize that
many
you,
times people don't get that conception of the struggle. They don't get the conception of, you know what, this person isn't trying to get over. They're doing what an addict's supposed to do, which is
right,
that's the behavior. You know, the easiest story that I've ever heard somebody tell me, and this came early on, this guy was saying, you know, he heard about a cowboy out in the middle of nowhere. And, you know, he had a sleeping bag, he had a fire, he had everything going. He stumbled upon a rattlesnake, and that rattlesnake was frozen solid. And that rattlesnake was saying, please, please save me, please help me, please warm me up. You know, and the cowboy's like, no, you're going to bite me. And the snake's like, no, 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 please help me. I don't want to die. I don't want to die. So the cowboy goes against his better judgment and he helps the snake. He puts the snake in the sleeping bag with him. Later on that night, guess what happens?
he bit him.
The snake bites him. And out of shock, the cowboy is like, well, I thought you said you weren't going to bite me. And the snake said, I'm a snake. What did you think I was going to do?
Right.
So,
I would have warmed him up in the fire.
So a lot of times that kind of goes with everything in life, not just addiction, not just with thought patterns. It goes along with people know who you are, but they still take that opportunity to act like they were shocked when something happens.
Right. I've been clean 13 years.
Look at all these murders that I do cover on True Crime and all these situations and everything. You know, people are shocked whenever somebody does something out of the norm. How could that person have done that? Or there was no way that person could have done that. Well, if you look at the patterns of human behavior, people are who they've always been. And people don't
Right.
change. They don't change that quickly. No matter what people want you to believe, they don't. If somebody has been a thief, if somebody been a liar, if somebody been a manipulator, if somebody has been whatever the word they use on these streets, grift or whatever the hell, then they have that tendency to go into that bag of tricks at any time. But for whatever reason in society today, we have this morality compass that, you know, we think that people are one and done, that people are disposable, you know?
I
And,
agree.
and for people that are watching me or people that are in the chat, I'm not even reading the chat. So whatever you are saying, keep saying it. I'll read it later. But, you know, I've had people talk about me and talk to me and all this stuff for multitudes of my life before I got sober. And even after I got sober, people still talk. People still act a certain way. There's nothing you could say or that you could direct towards me that could ever hurt me more than I could hurt myself, and I guarantee you that. So
Amen.
all these harsh comments that you're making in the chats and all this stuff, you just want a reaction. You just came here for a reaction. And if you say that you didn't, you did, you know, whatever. But you know, my point is, people take that get the fuck out as kind of like, oh, he's mad, he can't handle conflict. I can handle conflict. I just shouldn't have to on a live. You know what I mean? Like, of all places, of all lives to come into, right? I've had multitudes of lives. None of these people come in anymore. You're the guest of the hour, Nina.
You know, I used to be, I used to be, I don't even know how to respond to that. I mean, because I'm not gonna come up here and, you know, be self-righteous or poor pitiful me or anything like that. I mean, you know, people are gonna think what they want to think. They're gonna believe what they want to believe, you know, and that's fine. I mean, they have that right. I can't take that from them, you know. Um, I'm still Nina. I'm the Nina that I've been for 3 years. I'm the Nina that I've been for 15 years. You know, and like you said, there's human behavior, and there's if you if you see somebody every day for 3 years, and they're this person that you see every day. And don't get me wrong, I know that people are really good at grifting and whatever, okay? But for 3 years, this person hasn't asked, this person has not done any kind of behavior that in 3 years that all of a sudden they're being accused of. But they've never shown any of that behavior in 3 years. Never. Not one time. Not one time have you ever seen that kind of behavior. But then all of a sudden that's who they are, and that's what they're judged on. And that's how people in addiction, you know, you're talking about, you know, not asking for help and stuff, you know, because I'll be honest with you, I'll always be an addict as far as my mother is concerned. You see what I'm saying? Because she doesn't understand addiction because she's never been addicted. So, you know, I have to cut people like that some slack on if they don't understand it. But in the back of her mind, I'm always going to be that person I was when I was an addict. Does that make sense?
Of course. Of course
And
it does.
so that keeps a lot of addicts from coming out and saying, hey, look at me. I was an addict and I'm in recovery, because they don't want that stigma.
But you know what? And I'm not excusing your behavior because honestly, all I know is secondhand. All I know is what I was told in Discord. And since I didn't address it, then I'm in on it. So whatever. But regardless, how many people on these YouTube streets currently have gotten that proverbial second chance? I know a person who stated that their kid died, was setting up GoFundMe's and all these things about Their kid died. And then all of a sudden, we find out that was a lie. And now this person's on panels again. They've been forgiven. And nobody's ever batted an eye. How many people have had health problems on these YouTube streets that people have donated to GoFundMe's and everything else, you know? So to me, it's like, it's just an opportunity for people to be able to say something that somewhere, somehow they've always wanted to say, and now they got a platform to say it. But you know what? Nobody's perfect. Nobody is perfect. But everybody on here gets a pass. You don't have to give me a pass because I work for mine. I don't get on these lives to make money. I don't get on these lives to click. I can't stand half of y'all that call me your friend because you've shown your damn true colors to me more than once. That's why I roll by myself most of the time. And I've always done that. Because I know what it's like to see snakes that are about to bite you when they say that they're your friend or they're your family. Ain't nobody your family on these streets. Fuck up one time and see how fast people turn on you. And I've seen it in
I,
two channels.
I would, and I know you're not reading comments, but I would like to say that somebody put in the comments that there's somebody on Facebook that's a Rondi account that Nina's her only friend. If I got a request from somebody to be a friend named Rondi, I of course accepted it, thinking that it was Rondi. So I have no clue what that has to do with anything or why the name Rondi's being brought into it or anything.
Well,
But I can assure
since you're throwing that name out there, Rondi's fake too. Rondi's not real. Rondi and I were in a semi-friendship, almost kind of relationship. And she sent me a whole bunch of pictures and stuff like that. Since I'm being clean, you know what? Rondi's a fake. So all of you that fell for that sweet little Rondi's a fake. Rondi's a fake. Probably half of the people that you interact with on this YouTube are fakes. You know what I'm saying? It's
well,
like,
that I'm blown away because I had no idea. But I
yeah.
mean, I just don't want people. I don't want people to and take Rondi out of it. You know, just because that somebody's got. Don't judge other people based on how you judge me. That's all I'm asking. Judge me, not everybody else. Judge me, judge my actions, judge my whatevers, but put it on me. Don't put it on Gage. Don't put it on anybody else. They have nothing to do with it. They have nothing to do with anything you feel towards me. Give it all to me.
No, I'm not dismissing everybody's receipts. How do you know what kind of conversation I've had with this woman, Salty?
Hey, Steelers fan.
How do you know what kind of conversations I've had with this woman? I don't have to prove anything to anybody. That's what I'm saying. It's like, you know what? People lie. Just because it hasn't happened to you doesn't mean that it won't ever happen to you. You know what I mean? Just that's all I'm saying. Is most of the people on these platforms are not who they say they are. And I've said that countless times. How many people jump ship from one platform to another and they end up with another creator and then they get sideways with that creator, they jump onto somebody else's train, then all of a sudden they're best friends and everybody's family. You know, it is what it is, but that doesn't happen here. So I'm just saying that, you know, as far as my platform, I started this channel to educate as best as I could as I was learning it. And here we are 2 years later, I guess, because I didn't start
Yeah.
it right when Idaho did. It happened, but I even tried to go other directives, like what I'm trying to go tonight, and nobody wanted to hear it. Didn't I try to go addiction? I did multitudes of addiction stuff.
Right. Right.
Cricket.
And I mean, I knew tonight was going to be hard. I mean, I expected it, but the way I look at it is addiction and holiday blues and stuff like that. And you can take away from anything you want to, but I understand holiday blues. I'm not one of those that said my son was dead when he wasn't dead, you know. Um, Addiction, I understand. And that's the reason that I agreed to come on is because, you wanted to talk addiction and everything. And I'm good with it. I mean, I'll talk about anything you want to because you've stayed. The thing about it is our friendship is more than YouTube. You know what I'm saying? And our understanding of one another is more than YouTube. And I'm not taking away from any kind of YouTube friendships because there are YouTube friendships that are so valuable to me, Steelers fan being one in there. I mean, all of them. And I know that I know I get the hate and I understand that. And I'm not even going to say that it's not deserved, but it's not deserved for the reason that is out there. So, I mean, I'm not going to go there. We'll go back to addiction. We'll go back to, you know, I'm just not. I don't want all of it coming back on other people. That's the reason that I walked away is because I didn't want somebody to get hated for supporting me.
But exactly what we're talking about is real life, and it does happen in the addictive field. It does happen on these streets right now. There's people sleeping in their vehicles because they'd rather sleep in that vehicle than be labeled this, that, or the other. And whether they're clean or whether they're not, they're always dirty in somebody's eyes. And that's what needs to be spoken on. I don't know if anybody who's watching or has watched or knows about my channel, whatever, if you've ever dealt with that. Have you ever dealt with an addict and not been able to truly believe that they were sober? How
Yes.
to this day, I have 20 years still. There's people that doubt my sobriety.
Oh
20 years.
yeah. Oh yeah. I mean, that was one of the first questions that was asked of me. I'll be honest about that. Well, I'll be honest about everything. That sounded funny, but I mean, that was one of the first questions that came to me in Messenger was, did you relapse?
Or did you?
No, 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 no,
I
no. We'll
mean,
do hair follicle,
no,
blood test, whatever you
no.
need.
I asked
If
that in
I
my
had, if
I
I,
had
if I had relapsed, I would have come to you and said, Gage, I
hold on.
relapsed. I need
When
help.
I ask that, I don't say that in the form that you picked up. I'm saying, were you in relapse thinking? Were you in relapse behaviors? Were you doing anything that you would have done in your addiction? Because you know what? No matter how hard it is to be on the straight and narrow, everybody, and I'm willing to put this on anything, people that have gotten sober, they tend to slide back from time to time. They really do, even without them realizing it. Were you in any type of relapse thinking?
Oh, there is definitely, I am a firm believer in mental relapse. I mean, but I can say that I'm not going to say that I did nothing wrong because that wouldn't mean getting on here and debating with everybody and starting it all over again. But I will say I don't know who Padfoot is, but my offer of refunds is there. I've asked anybody and everybody that if you want a refund, to please email me at warninglabelnina@gmail.com. Tell me, send me your thing of where you donated, how much it was, and we'll deal with the refund. So no one except one person has emailed me for a refund. So I would like to say that for your statement that you needed the money, all I can do is offer a refund to make that right.
So you do agree that you were relapse thinking?
I can honestly say I can't say that because I didn't set out to take money from anyone. I
Okay,
set out to
we're not talking about that. I'm talking about
yeah,
how
but
you
to
were
me,
how
relapse
you
thinking,
how you were viewing the world. Like, were you grandiose? Were you any of that self-serving? Were you any of that?
I
That's
got
what I'm
caught
talking
I
about.
got caught up I got caught up in wanting to do something and did not cross my T's, dot my I's, check everything I should have checked, and I got caught up in it and did not do my due diligence. But I did not steal any money.
Well, that wasn't part of the question. You
I
don't have
know,
to
but
say
if you're
that.
going to ask me, if I was in relapse thinking and relapse behavior and stuff like that, and if I said yes, then that could be interpreted that that is addictive behavior coming through, which I would be justifying stealing. Do you know what I'm saying? I guess I'm overthinking it because of the
Yes,
comments. Does that
yes,
make
you
sense?
yes, you are. I just meant whether, you know, because being on a platform, having a YouTube channel, even though a kid could get a YouTube channel and talk about Legos or whatever and get tons and tons of views, whatever. So it's nothing special, okay? But if you have a mentality where you have low self-esteem, or you have a feeling that once you get the admiration of certain people or you get an audience, then you start to forget who you really are, and you're kind of filling one void for the other, if that makes sense. So I'm
Right,
not saying
right.
that's what happened to you. I'm saying that, sometimes it happens to people. They fill it with food, they fill it with gambling, they fill it with sex, they fill it with all kinds of stuff.
I can honestly tell you that I went through a mental relapse because I really never believed in mental relapse until I went through it myself. And I went through it in 2022. I was on TikTok and I was vile. I was fighting with anybody and everybody. I was just, it was that addictive behavior, to where I hated the world. I hated everybody around it. Did I consume? No. But the only thing missing was the drug. The only thing missing was that physical high because I was getting the mental high. So I will tell anybody that mental relapse is 100% real and it's just as dangerous and it's just as detrimental.
Well, it goes in the area where everything else that deals with pleasure, we all get used to a certain feeling of pleasure, however we define it. And once we start to enjoy it, we crave it. And most of the time, you'll do just about anything for that feeling. I've had people tell me that they've sold their children diapers for crack. Their children's diapers, their bottle, their formula. They've stole all this stuff that was donated to them. They sold it. It's dope, man. For dope.
Right.
So So hearing that, nothing surprises me. So for somebody to say, well, they messed up a certain way, well, you know what? He without sin cast the first stone. You know, I have a soft spot for addiction. That's why I became a therapist
Whoa.
many
See,
years
okay,
ago.
wait.
Many years ago. You know,
Gage, I would like to say that some of the comments are getting really rough. I mean, thousands of dollars from Lucky. I stole thousands of dollars from Lucky's community. Has anybody asked Lucky that? And I'm not putting Lucky on the spot. Lucky is a great man, you know, but thousands? I mean, y'all are, and I'm, please don't take this the wrong way. And I said I wasn't going to do this, but man, y'all are hitting
bingo.
low below the belt.
People also believe that it's still a green Elantra with spider wings. Come on,
I
man.
love
I
you.
mean,
That's just awesome right there.
I'm not
Oh,
defending. I'm not defending you. I'm just saying
no,
that
no, but that's absolutely true. People are going to believe what they believe.
I watched many of lives earlier, and I just couldn't watch anymore on that case because people are seeing stuff in the photos and all kinds of stuff. But getting back to the addiction is when people's thinking start to dictate their actions, then you're fighting a battle with somebody that you can't win. You know?
Right.
Have you ever I mean, I know you've lost your son, but have you ever lost anybody else due to addiction?
No, no, no. My son was my first.
I lost
And
my
now,
uncle.
have I known people? I've known people. I have been, I don't want to say friends, but because when you're in the drug world, you don't have friends. You have acquaintances, or you have enablers, or you have partiers, or you know what I'm saying? You don't have friends, you know. So, have I lost people in the drug world? Yes. Have I lost family members due to drugs? No, David was my first. Have I lost friends due to drugs? No, I lost acquaintances.
I lost an uncle that was murdered due to his addiction and the choices that he made. I was probably about 17 when that happened.
Right.
And it's hard to comprehend when somebody is trapped in that addictive cycle because when you see them, they're not hurting you. They're not I mean, he wasn't hurting any of the kids. He was buying us stuff. He was taking us places. He was being an uncle. He was doing, he was loving us. He was teaching us how to play sports. He was doing all this stuff. But then at the same time, behind the scenes, he was battling something that nobody knew about,
Right.
you know, battling something that nobody knew about. And when he got murdered, it still was spun that his addiction became the primal topic. It wasn't him, the person that got murdered. It was, well, what was he doing out there late at night? What had he been doing to these people? They murdered him. Does it
Right.
really matter what he did? Nobody deserved to be murdered.
Right.
Or I might be wrong by saying that. Maybe y'all believe people, deserve to be murdered. I don't know. I don't know. I don't know what people believe anymore because there's so many people that believe different things. Maybe people believe that, all drug addicts need to be taken out. But where does it end? You know what I mean? There's always somebody that is the enemy. You have to paint an enemy because for whatever reason you view yourself as upper level to somebody who is not an equal towards you. And I'm not throwing out anything about her situation right now, so don't take it as that. You know what I mean? It's like it's just the truth of the matter. It's like when we're talking about addiction, this is what happens. You know? This is what happens. And a lot of times whenever individuals do get into treatment, most of them go in under the influence. Seen so many people check themselves out within the first hour and a half when they were ready for sobriety. The moment they start to feel that uncomfortableness, they're ready to leave. They're ready to go out the door. You know what I mean?
Oh yeah.
They're ready to go out the door. So a lot of times, I don't know if anybody that will watch this in the future or anybody that's currently watching has had somebody that struggled with any kind of addictive process and has overcome that battle. One thing I can tell you is that if you are dealing with somebody who is an addict or somebody that does have mental health issues, and the holidays are some of the hardest times to go through that with them. Every day is, but the holidays are even tougher because you're looking around at a sense of normality that you don't understand why it doesn't live in your household. You know?
Now see, I can say that I mean neither parents, I really didn't know that much about addiction growing up. I know it was out there, but I don't think it was as prevalent, you know. Um and I guess until you really get into your own addiction, you don't really pay attention to, were you around addicts, were you around that kind of lifestyle, were you, because for 16 years hell, that was my family, you know. I
But let
mean,
me ask you
so
let me ask you a fair question because I'm ready to answer this if you're not. Let me ask you a fair question. If you would have never told anybody you're in recovery, do you think that this situation would be the same? Do you think that people unconsciously in the back of their mind were watching you a certain way because you are somebody who has
oh,
been there?
no, I can honestly say no. Now, like I said, I was asked the question, but only one person asked me that question. You know what I'm saying? Um, I really do not think, I don't think that my I'm not going to say past addiction because you're always an addict, but I do not think that my past was ever judged upon me in this situation. I can honestly say that. I think that people took me to be in recovery and they believed that, and I hope they still believe that. I can't control if they do or not. But I don't think that I was prejudged. I don't think that I don't think it was anybody in anybody's back of their head or anything like that of, well, we should have expected that. She's an addict. You know what I'm saying? I don't think that my I don't think my addiction or my recovery impacted this situation at all.
Okay.
Now, rightfully so, I was asked, did I relapse? Because that would be relapse behavior. You
The
know,
reason I ask that is because, multiple times when you get clean, it's an unconscious thing with people, whether they admit it or whether they don't. They do have a bias when it comes to learning that about somebody. It's kind of like learning that somebody's been incarcerated. Do they lock their stuff up around them unconsciously? Do they double check on them? Do they not leave them with their close family members, or do they trust them with certain things? Because as humans, we say we forgive, right? We say we
right.
have understanding. We say, okay, you paid your time to society. You paid your debt. But have you really, when it comes to society's preconceived notion on how they treat you? And I'm not trying to paint the victim for anybody, because if you're in any level of sobriety, you understand the self empowerment not to let other people rent space in your head. That's not what I'm saying. What I'm saying is people that aren't in recovery or have ever worked a program tend to place judgment and limitations on people who have actually been in the struggle. You know?
But I think I think that that's only natural. And I think that, one of the things that you've heard me talk about is that when I put David's headstone up, I carried my mother to see his headstone. And she stood at the foot of his grave and she cussed him and she yelled at him for loving his dope more than he loved his sons, and for not being man enough to give up his drugs. And I mean, she was mad, you know. And at first, I wanted to just yell at her and say, no, you're not going to talk to him like that. You're here to see his headstone. But then I realized that coming from someone that did not understand addiction, she had to get her feelings out. You know what I'm saying? I mean, she
But in
had to
reality,
say,
in reality, Nina, understanding addiction and being a good person, a good human being with good core values and beliefs, there's not much difference. It's a spiritual program. It's a holistic program. It's a program based on forgiveness. The program based on second chances and understanding that nobody's perfect all the time. That's what I'm
but I
saying.
guess what I mean about understanding addiction is unless you understand the hold that addiction has on you, then it's easy for somebody to say he loved his dope better than he did his kids
Well,
because they don't understand that
explain
hold.
that concept to the people that may never have experienced that in their life. How could somebody say that about somebody, that they love their dope more than they love their kids? How could that perception have been even put out there? What?
Because if he had been man enough to walk away from the drug, he would be alive for his sons. Do you see what I'm saying? I mean, you have to give them that grace of not understanding the hold. The grace of not understanding I've got to have that drug. It's not that I love my drug more than I do my son, my daughter, my mother, my partner, or whatever. Hell, I love that drug more than I love myself.
So
But if
that,
you've never
so then
lived
when
that, you
somebody,
don't
right.
understand it.
So when somebody says, "Oh, you love this drug, or you love this alcohol, or you love these people that you run with more than your family," for whatever reason, that certain thing that you're clutching onto, it doesn't have any judgment towards you. And I think that's something that people do not get, because they feel that, I was a good parent, I was a good husband, wife, aunt, uncle, I was a good brother, I was a good sister. How could they love that more than they love me? Because for whatever reason, like I said earlier, people have said stuff about me nonstop since God knows when. And for a long time, you personalize that and you say, why am I so much of a piece of shit that people keep talking the stuff about me? What do I do to people? What do I say? Da 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 da, da all this, you know? It isn't until you really get honest and you look at how you go about your life, your patterns, your reflective change. It isn't until you do any of that and then you start to realize that maybe you weren't as perfect as you thought, you know?
Oh yeah, yeah. I mean, I agree. I mean, but the stigma. I can honestly say that I do not believe the stigma today is quite as bad as it used to be. I mean, used to, if you had been to recovery, even if you had been clean 20 years or 15 years or whatever, you were still a POS, you know. And I think now, if you go through recovery and you live that recovery, that I don't want to use the word respected, because a lot of people now are just like, well, if you'd have never done it in the first place, you wouldn't be an addict. So, I mean, there's people that don't understand it, and it's not my place to make them understand it. I can only share my addiction and my recovery.
So, what has your journey taught you? Since you left Alabama, what has your journey of self reflection taught you?
I validate myself today. I do not need outside validation. I do not need praise, glory, pat on the back, recognition. Um, Being out here, I have learned that I've learned who I am. I've learned that with everything that I have gone through, and I'm not going to read the comments right now because I know they're going to be really mean. And that doesn't matter to me because I know me. I know who I am. I validate myself. And it has taught me not to be I don't want to say a stronger person, but it has taught me to be a more understanding and more compassionate, more um it's not about me. It's bigger than me.
So, here's the $1 million question, okay?
Yeah.
Is there kennels? Where's there
Uh
kennels?
the 4 kennels, no.
Okay.
Now, I mean, no, they're not. They're not. And I can never, and I guess that's the reason that I get sort of with the thousands of dollars. There was supposed to be 4 kennels at $500 a piece. Is $2,000. Okay. So I don't know where all these thousands and thousands and thousands is coming from, because
Not to
as
be
soon,
not to be funny again, but you're in the same boat as Dylan Mortensen with the million that she made off her GoFundMe. So I mean,
I mean, the GoFundMe, I think when I closed the GoFundMe out, oh my gosh, I can't remember. I'm sure somebody's got the exact amount, and if they do, they can put it in chat. But I can tell you that the GoFundMe was less than $1,000. Now, I am not taking away from anybody that donated to me on Cash App and PayPal, or anybody that donated from their lives and stuff like that. Anybody that helped me promote it. I would have
you cut out.
never put people out there that I cared about fundraising and promoting and doing everything that everybody did for me just to scam, just to grift. That's not my behavior. That's not what anybody has ever seen of me.
Well, I didn't bring you up here to crucify you, Nina. I didn't bring you up here for, but I had to ask, right? I had to ask. Because, for myself, and I'm just going to speak for me. I'm not speaking for anybody that you have business ventures with or whatever you did, whatever, any of that. That's your business. But this is what I go by. Okay. This is something that I go by. If somebody's asking for it and I'm not willing to give it without needing it back, I don't give it.
The thing about it is, if I was going to grift and scam,
I gave tonight.
Not to me.
No.
No, if I was going to grift and scam, I wouldn't have brought other people into it. I would have done it alone. Does that make sense? I wouldn't have brought people in that had, I mean, no, I mean, I'm not going to, just like when I walked away, because I don't want to go in people's chats, because if they say hello to me, I don't want them judged, because of me. I would have done it just me. I wouldn't have let anybody else raise money on their channels, because then that represents their channel. You know what I'm saying? They're putting their name on it. And I don't care what you think of me. And as far as, I mean, Walt, I love you and everything. And yes, you are absolutely right. It needs to be refunded. I can't refund if nobody emails me and says, give me my refund. Most people say, I just want proof. I don't want the money. I don't care about the money. I donated it. I don't want a refund. I can't give you proof of something that did not happen. All I can tell you is they did not happen.
Once again, I appreciate you.
I did not give it. I did not give the money to a complete stranger. I did not give the money to a complete stranger. I gave the money to a man that was in recovery, that was working in the recovery community, that I had no idea had relapsed.
Is there any way to honestly build these kennels?
Yeah.
I mean, is there any way to, possibly
Look, as far as Dabo's Kennels, as soon as I found out that I could not umbrella under Marquette Time 3, Marquette Time 3 has an EIN, it's a for-profit business, okay? And so those left behind, that is like a support group. So it does not do anything as far as like a business. You know what I'm saying? Because it's more like a support group.
Well, EIN.
And when I found out that I could not umbrella under all that and everything, I stopped with Dabo's Kennels. I have not promoted it. I've not mentioned it. I've not done anything until it is completely legal and it is completely solidified. So I will take, and look, this whole conversation was transparent on my Discord. It was discussed in depth of my accountability and everything as far as my legal ignorance goes. Okay? But for anybody that knows, I have told anybody and everybody, no more Dabo's Kennels, because I can't do it the way that I thought I was doing it and everything else. I never set out to scam anybody. I never set out to steal from anybody. Nothing like that. As far as refunds, email me. We will refund. That's all I can do.
Well, that's all. I mean, there you have it. Email her, take it up with her. If you combine my channel with what she did, then That's your business. That's between you and whatever thoughts you have. I'm not a person that clicks together with people just for the status quo. And if you think so, then you're clearly mistaken. I've always told you I ride alone.
Gage was never involved. Gage has never took sides. Gage has stayed neutral in it. He has stayed on the sidelines of it. I'm sure he has an opinion of it, but he has not shared that opinion. He's
Well,
not even shared it with me. He's told me it's none of his
I'll tell you
business.
to your face, Nina. I told them that if they had a problem with it, file charges on you. If they had a case, file charges on you. Go the legal aspect, get their money back however they needed to get it. But that wasn't good enough for people because I still was siding with you because you're my bestie. You're not my bestie. You know what I mean?
Wait a minute. Now, GoFundMe, which one are we talking about? Out of the four of them
I don't
you
know.
have
I don't
had the
know.
last several years? Wait a minute. I have had two.
Well, Firefly, I'm going to answer that because you and I have had a good rapport since the last blow up we had. I'm going to answer that to you. I work 8 to 5. I just started a new position. I'm not excusing this whatsoever, okay? But Discord and all this YouTube crap is not real life to me.
Wait a minute. I did address it. Oh,
I told people in Discord when they were messaging me that they needed to get with her and address it. I told you guys that I didn't condone what she did, but that wasn't good enough for y'all. So everybody got up and left, which is fine. But I'm going to tell you, I have a life outside of YouTube. I don't spend all day long talking about Idaho and all this other stuff. I have a life. I have a real job. And I'm not saying that you don't. I'm not saying that you don't have a life. I'm just specifying that for me, I can't sit around and talk about certain drama that doesn't involve my real life when it's taken away from my real life. And that's how I'm going to answer your statement. You know what I mean? I mean, if that's not good enough, I don't know what to tell you. I really don't. Because honestly, I didn't do any of this, as you call it, scamming. I didn't do any of that. I've never asked anybody for a dime on YouTube. Not a damn dime. I never say, come on, folks, let's get to this number. Let's get to this so I can donate to this and that and the other. I never do any of that. And I won't. And I won't. The issue that y'all have with Nina, like she said, you need to email her. Well, that's all about perception. All about perception. He and I had a conversation too. Him and I had a conversation too. You know. Where I'm from, real friends have disagreements. They have falling outs. But you know what? When you say you're sorry, when you try to make things better, that should be good enough for people. And if it's not, then they were never real in your life to begin with. That's how this part of the state where I'm at, this is how we roll. Or we go and duke it out in the middle of a cotton field, and whoever gets up, help the other one up, and go drink a beer afterwards. You know what I mean? It's whatever. I'm not making light of this, and Nina isn't either, but, getting back to the topic, these holidays are tough for a lot of people because there are a lot of people that don't have a lot of money. They're struggling with credit card bills. They're struggling with rent, struggling with all kinds of stuff, right? What would you tell them, Nina? I mean, how would you tell somebody that that's struggling with that doesn't know how to ask for help, where would you? I mean, there's food kitchens, right? I mean, there's food pantries, right?
Right.
You mentioned
Um,
211. There's clothing places, right?
right. But the thing about it is a lot of people don't realize that, and like I said, 211 can't physically do anything for you. All they can do is lead, guide, and direct you. You
Mm-hmm.
know, and um, as far as, oh my gosh,
Is there still places that help you pay your bills? I mean, is there? I don't
oh
know.
yeah,
I don't
yeah,
know
yeah,
where it is
yeah.
in all the places where these bigger cities, but I know there's usually places that help you with utilities and they help you with. I mean, I know that the SNAP benefits have been denied for a lot of people, and that kind of put people in a spot. You know, there's a lot of things going on, and people aren't okay. They really aren't.
No, and that's the thing about it is, I mean, let's see, I think I was stranded in Spokane for a week due to my brakes and being stuck in the car and everything. But then when you think about it on the other foot, the homeless community in Spokane, Washington, I've been 48 states and I've never seen anything like it, you know. And it's not from the city not being empathetic or not trying. It's just that there's so many, you know. But when you're sitting there, when you're sitting there in the broke down car, but then on the other hand, you sit there and you go, you know what? I'm not getting wet. I'm not cold. I'm in a
Mhm.
car that's running with heat. So, you know, that's when you have to, is the glass half full or is it half empty?
And I think a lot of people that do have, they take for granted that it could last forever. There's a lot of
Yes.
home, there's a lot of homeless people that are doctors, lawyers, whatever, made some bad decisions. Once again, making bad decisions, bad choices that led them to a place they never thought they'd be. You know?
And a lot of people are like, well, people choose to be homeless. If y'all really think about it, if you're working just a regular job, I'm not saying, these jobs that pay a lot of money, but if you're working just a regular job, my landlord in Louisville, Kentucky told me one time that just a regular everyday person is 7 days from being homeless.
I agree with that. Especially now that the rent has gone from 500, 650, 750 to 13, 15, $2,000. And I'm not talking about even a home. I'm talking about apartments.
Right, right.
You do the math. So even if you're making $13 an hour at your job, but you have kids and you're having to feed, clothe, utilities, and trying to keep up with everybody else because God forbid if you don't have the what everybody else has, then people look down on you. And
But if you really think about it, that seven,
you cannot say that we're not a society like that.
oh yeah. I mean, monetary value, a lot of times is more important than the other values.
I mean, my addiction took a lot from me, but I can tell you one thing that it gave me. It gave me the ability to make it, even if I only ate one meal a day. There's been times when, in my sobriety, I didn't have the money to eat 3 meals. Did the best I could with what I had,
Right.
you know? There's two words that come to mind whenever, or actually three, when it comes to mind when I look at a person or when I'm discussing certain things with them. Are they honest? Do the words match their actions? Are they humble? And do they have humility? And when I say humble, I mean, do they not boast? Are they able to take what they give? You know what I mean? If you can only give it but don't take it, I mean, you're not a humble person. You're just a bully. You know what I mean?
Right.
If you have humility, you have the ability to make it through certain things that other people don't. I don't know if it's a sad state we're in. It really is, and the holidays are tough. It's tough for people that are not drug addicts or not alcoholics. There's people that lost loved ones last week, yesterday, last year around this time. Maybe the grieving has yet to subside, or are they just supposed to suck it up and get over with it? There's
You don't
families
ever get over the.
there's families that we talk about in true crime that are supposed to just be okay all of a sudden that a verdict has been read down about their potential killer. There's countless families affected by countless people harming their loved ones. And those family members are treated like they're trash. Like they aren't supposed to be wanting to stand up and talk about the memory of their loved ones. You know what I mean?
Right.
Did you hear about the girl that they said that she committed suicide, but her mom thinks that somebody pushed her over the edge of the 17th floor in Austin, Texas, a couple weekends
No, I
ago?
did not.
Yeah, they think that that's foul play. Her mom thinks it's foul play. They found her phone in the woods. There were messages on that phone. There was all kinds of stuff that just made her mom think that that was not on the up and up. And it happened in Austin, Texas, where the Lady Bird killer, all those murders take place, and it's almost like nothing to see here. You know what I mean?
Well, I know today I was actually 20 miles from the Watts house.
Yeah.
And any other time I would have took that 20-mile detour just to go see the Watts house and everything. And true crime's just not where I'm supposed to be.
I always thought it was strange that I was celebrating somebody's demise more than, you know what I mean? It's like I got so enthralled with the Idaho case in the very beginning that I kind of lost sight of
Yes,
what
absolutely. Can't hear you. Hello? Hello?
Hold on. Can you
Oh,
hear me now? Can you hear me
yeah, I can
now?
hear you now. Yeah,
Okay. All right. I said I started fighting
I
with
saw
people.
your mouth moving, but nothing came out.
I said I started fighting with people I didn't even know, started trying to defend myself against certain things, and it's like taking a step back myself, I kind of have been given that opportunity that you really realize that certain things are not your battle.
Yes, yes. Yeah, I think I totally agree with that statement.
One thing that if I was to do a channel, if I was able to link up with police, I would want to do the sting channels, like to catch a predator. I think that would be something that would be beneficial to society.
I think I'm going to do DoorDash across the United States.
How is that going?
Oh, I love it. I mean, I get up every day and I DoorDash and, you know, drive down the road and DoorDash and drive down the road and see the United States.
So anybody can do that?
Yeah.
I thought you had to like
I mean,
live in the area.
no, I mean, like right now I'm in, let's see, today when I got up, um, DoorDash was Loveland, Colorado, which is about 30 miles north of Denver. Tonight, I DoorDashed in Monument, Colorado, which is south of Denver. I wasn't even going to attempt to DoorDash in Denver. You can forget that.
Is it snowing yet over there?
Oh my gosh, there's snow and ice and everything. Um, I mean, it's not snowing now, but there's still like the snow drifts and stuff, where they scraped and everything. And
Yeah.
even at some of the deliveries, you have to be really careful in the driveways and all that. But I mean, DoorDash, let's see, Alabama, Mississippi, Louisiana, Texas, New Mexico, Arizona, Idaho, Washington State, Montana, Colorado are the states that I've been through.
I don't know. I might start doing that on a side hustle just to get, exposure. Is it dangerous?
No, I'm sure it would be. Now I don't do it at night though. You know what I'm saying? I mean, and I'm not saying that.
I mean, do you ever like go up to a door and you're like, kind of, you get that spidey sense going on?
Now I did deliver to a house. Now that's when I was doing Walmart. That was like it was like boarded up and stuff like that, and I'm like, well, why am I taking a Walmart delivery to this house? I mean, you know,
Right.
and I mean, you just have to. Like I said, I don't do it at night or anything like that. I did tonight because I have to have so much gas to like idle through the night and stuff like that.
Right.
So, of course you if you have to, you have to, Um, but I would never I would I think that a reason a lot of people don't do it is the fear of the unknown. I mean, like when I change cities and stuff like that, I'll get nervous because I'm like, man, I've been door dashing in this city for a couple of days. I mean, like Spokane, my gosh, I think I was there a month. I got to where I knew it, and you know, then when you move on, it's like, oh man, now I got to learn this all over. Well, sometimes you're not there, but maybe a day or two. But it would be real easy to fall into the, oh, I think I'll just stay here.
You know, I would try it here, but I've heard that people don't tip that well. So that's part of your salary, is it not?
Oh yeah, the tips, but I mean, it'll come up like the orders will come up, and I'm just gonna throw numbers out there like $6 plus $5 tip, you know,
Oh,
and
okay.
yeah, so I mean, you get all that information. I mean, I looked at my ratings today, and I mean, I'm on platinum. Let's see, it's platinum level, like a 4.89 customer service rating, 100% acceptance rating, stuff like that. You can't be picky and choosy. You got to take the low paying ones with the good paying ones, and then
Right.
you graduate to the shopper. And when you graduate to the shopper, that's when you can make good money, is when you're going in and doing the shopping.
You know, I've always paid a hell of a delivery fee and everything else with DoorDash. I
Well,
stopped. I
I
stopped
got
doing.
paid $7. I got paid $7 to deliver a Diet Coke.
I stopped doing. What the other one? There's DoorDash. There's Uber, and there's another one.
Oh, there's Ship, there's Instacart.
I don't know.
Wow,
There was one of
there's
them
a
that I
bunch.
stopped doing because the guy showed up with a dirty ice cooler, and he had a bag in it with my food, and the cooler was dirty, and I was like,
Oh, yeah, man, you might not have wanted to take the dirty cooler to the porch. Take the food out of it at least.
no. I was like, no, I don't think. I mean, the bag wasn't open, so I'm not that petty. But you know what? I was like, no telling where that cooler's been. If you use that to fish, you throw a fish in there or what? Yeah, Grubhub. That's the one I use. I was like, did he use that cooler to, put his fish in? What, I didn't use them anymore. I had good experiences with Uber Eats, but DoorDash is pretty time efficient, I guess.
Yeah.
I heard stories though that people like eat out of will cancel the order and eat the order. I mean, there's people that do all kinds of shady stuff all over, you know what I mean? And that's one of the things that I've heard about these food
Oh,
delivery people.
I actually picked up at Bucky's today. That's funny that you said that because in their little deli thing, I had to pick up a sack of the like cheese tots, the Bucky tots,
Yeah,
and they don't seal them or anything. So when I got up to the register, I asked the lady, I said, "Do you have a stapler?" And she was like, "What?" And I said, "Well, these are open." And I said, "I would like to staple the bag shut before I take it to my car." You know,
right.
and it wasn't that I was afraid I was going to eat them. It was that to me, it's better for the customer for their bag to be sealed.
Yeah, that Bucky's, those beaver bites that you're talking about, they just have that sticker. So if those stickers get too hot, it just kind of
Right.
pops open. So
And so
yeah,
I asked her for a stapler so I could staple the bag.
yeah. I just have to, unless I'm really swamped at work, I make myself go get my own food because it gets pretty expensive after a while.
Oh, wow. Jeff says he sees the food delivery guys throw green peppers and everything in the metal shopping carts.
Well, he said that somebody stole his steaks.
Oh, God.
That is crazy. That is crazy.
Yeah, that's crazy. Well, Gage, honey, I have really enjoyed this, and I don't want to call it short, but I mean, it's
There,
actually not
is
been
there any
short,
kind
but
of, is there anything as far as an olive branch to whoever might be listening or watching that you own any of this? I mean, is there anything that you can say, okay, I do own this. Here's my olive branch.
I do own it. Warning label Nina at gmail.com. Contact me. We will discuss it, but I'm not going to discuss it on other people's platforms. I'm not going to discuss it involving other people that are not involved. I mean, I think I I don't think that doing it on other people's platforms or anything like that is going to solve anything. I don't think that it's going to help anything. I hope that I've been responsive in a good way tonight, um, to help a little. Olive Branch is always there. I'm Nina. I'm always going to be Nina. And in the back of your head and the back of your heart, deep down, y'all know who Nina is.
All right. Well, you be safe out there in Colorado. Stay away from those bears.
Yeah, Montana actually has signs up that, you know, precaution for the grizzlies and stuff. And I was like, oh, wow.
Don't feed the bears, right? All right, Dino. Well, have a good night. See you again.
All right. Thank you.
Bye. All right. There you had it. Once again, my intention was to talk about the hurting people during this time of need throughout this holiday season, and I asked Nina to come up. And I do want to clarify something. Go back to any of my library early on, and I'm talking about early on. Probably video 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 from there on. I've been consistent with the chat. And I said it a long time ago. You just never know who's in the chat, what kind of stability they have mental wise, where their triggers are, what they're able to articulate as being real versus fiction, all these things. So by me saying what I said earlier, I guess since I asked Nina to extend an olive branch, I will do the same. I do apologize if I offended anybody by telling you to get the fuck out. But you know, at the same time, that is a huge trigger for me when the chat starts going that direction, and I should have known that it was going to go in that direction. I own that. But I do want to say that I don't do this for no other reason than I enjoy to come up here and speak on different things. And I chose addiction tonight because I know that people are struggling. And if you're watching this or you're going to watch this on replay and you don't know where to turn, or you feel that you're all alone, nobody understands you, people judge you, people do whatever, been there, done that. You know, the last thing we need when we're hurting is somebody to kick us, somebody to throw more salt in the wound. Because like I said, individuals that have been through hell and made it to the other side, there's nothing anybody can say or do to take you back there, because we made that vow to ourselves that we would never go back there when we're really finally through with the addictive process. So if somebody is truly in their recovery, all the ugliness that people possess in their hearts, or all the ugliness that they might feel entitled to dish out, whatever it might be, there's nothing anybody can say a lot of times that we haven't already said that countless times to ourselves. You know what I mean? So I don't know. I can't tell you what to do, because most of the people that watch this are adults, or so you would think. And I only watch other channels because, to be honest, I'm bored most of the time. When I just want to wind down, I want to see what people are saying about certain cases. There's very little out there that intrigues me. There's really not a lot that really I can put myself into that really intrigues me, that really I see as people making a difference. Because I saw something today, and they asked this question to this journalist. They said, at what point does exposure equal public change? So merely exposing something, is that going to equal change in the public perception, or the solving or keeping crime from happening just because you're exposed to it? If that was the case, then a lot of these crimes and things that we talk about, they wouldn't happen. I thought that was a very intriguing question. You know what I mean? I thought that was a very intriguing question. Does exposure equal public change? just exposing somebody or something, is that going to equal change in the next thing down the road? Kind of like child molesters, rapists, murderers, serial killers, all these things. Is that really going to stop it from happening? Or are we able to going to understand it any better? Because if we ask somebody from the Ted Bundy days and they followed timeline of true crime to the Idaho case or Delphi or whatever, would they look at Kohberger the same way they'd look at Ted Bundy? Would they look at Richard Allen the same way they would look at Manson? Awareness, does that equal public change? Because countless times we do scream that out. We want justice. We want people. We want the truth. We want the knowledge. Of course we do. We're curious people by nature. But you know, I get that, Firefly. I really do. Asking questions is what I do for a living, you know, but at the same time, to ask that question, you got to get to a solution eventually. There has to be a solution. Otherwise, it's just an endless question that never answers anything. It never gives you any kind of semblance of solution. And isn't that what we're all after, is the final product? What really happened, why it happened, and what could have changed it from happening? Many people say addiction is a weakness. It's a moral thing that's wrong with somebody. They're morally broken. If they could quit, if they wanted to quit, they could just quit. Well, you know, the truth of the matter is, most people want to quit. They just can't. Because if you know anything about the medical field or you know anything about anatomy, using chemicals changes your body structure. Anything we put in our bodies, even food, changes our body structure because we're created a certain way and we put stuff in it every day that pollutes our bodies and changes the way we react to things. So when you know that, it's a long road to explore what really came first, the chicken or the egg. Were they the addict first and something triggered it? Or were they just okay? They had something trigger in their lives, or they just started becoming nature became more than nurture, and they started becoming who they became. And those are the questions that need to be asked. You know what I mean? Those are the questions that should be asked. If you're struggling during this holiday season, I hope that you know that you're not alone. You might not take anything I say with any sense of value because I used the F word earlier and I told people to leave my chat. That might have destroyed your trust in my channel. But I can tell you this, if you're hurting right now, you're not alone. You're not alone. Find somebody somewhere that you can believe in long enough until you can believe in yourself. Because sometimes we just need to vent. Sometimes we just need to talk. And if you can find that person, you just never know. And on the other foot, if you're walking around these shopping stores or grocery stores or anything, Costco, and you see somebody struggling, I'm not telling you what to do, but maybe instead of shutting them, maybe smile and give them a kind word. Now, if they're aggressive, I wouldn't recommend it. But if they're just down and out, you just never know what a kind word or a kind gesture can do to somebody. You might be the only rainbow in the storm that that person has ever seen or has seen in a long time. And you don't know how you could change the course of their lives forever just by that small gesture. Like I said, I'm not the moral compass of YouTube. I'm not even telling you what to do. I try to do it daily. I try to talk to people everywhere I go. Try to say good morning. I try to say, ask them about their morning, or, how are your children? Even if I don't know they have children, because sometimes people need that human connection. They might not talk to a soul all week, I hope that you enjoyed tonight's live amidst the fireworks or my idiocracy. If you enjoyed the channel, thank you so much. Hit the like if you wish. Let me put these QR codes up here. I haven't done that in a while. This one right here is for the American Heart Association. Like I always say, this is one that you don't have to give to. You're not giving to the channel. I'm not passing it on. You give directly to the website. This one is for a food bank called Feed More. And I believe that's in Virginia somewhere. And this one's for breast cancer. And if you have a QR code that you want me to display for your community, email me. Make the QR code and I will do that for you. I would put it up here and let people see it. And I'd ask you one more time that if anybody's watching this on replay in Texas, in the Dallas, Fort Worth, Austin area, please go to my community post and look at the poster that I'll put up there. There's a mother that I know personally that is missing her son, and he's been gone for a year. He got off the bus, was coming from prison, supposedly walked off and never heard or seen again. He's a young man, healthy, no problems. Go look at the poster. If you're in the Texas area, Dallas, Fort Worth, Austin, there's numbers where you can reach her, or just leave any tips to my email and I will forward them to her. I believe that that's what social media can do, is they can reach a lot more places than we used to be able to. So you have a wonderful, wonderful night. Thank you again for being here. My name is 12 Gauge, and this is my channel, 12 Gauge Investigative. Maestro, cue that music.